comes up. Let's verify. Alright, just waiting. There we have confirmation. Excellent. And just waiting. And we have confirmation of a good connection. Let's load the social stream stuff. Select source. It's not showing up yet, so we're going to wait on that one. Let's try this one. Hey, that one's live, so we'll activate that one. There it is. Switch to live. Still don't get the thing where I can type, but honestly, it doesn't matter. Oh, I need to activate the... Oh, there's the stream. I see it. Good. So the only one I need now is the regular channel 1. Should go live any moment. Hey, there it is. And there it is. Switch to live chat. And we have verified both windows are good. So we close this. And we are now done with this. So thank you very much, but I have no need of your services anymore. And then all I have to do is hit enter, 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 one more. Enter. Okay. I can now close Discord. Oh, I have to hit the button to activate the actual box. There it is. I heard the sound. So let's verify that it shows up. So I have to select, I believe it would be this. Yes. All right. And we can verify that by saying test 1. And there it is. I heard the beep. Windows are open. Verify, get my notifications. I did. And wait, did I? Hold on, sorry. Why did I not get the live alert? Oh yes, there it is. Got it. Okay. And let's go here. Now live. Good. I got my live things. So we are, as far as I can tell, we are live. Let me just switch over my... No, I don't care about that. Where's the participants? Just so I can keep an eye on things. Sensational. And there we are. Okay. I think we're good. So let's go ahead and let me do a new... I don't actually know. Let's do... we'll do that for now. Okay. Let me hit my intro thing. Okay. And if I did this correctly... We'll see. How many minutes? 3 minutes? Okay, that's not bad for me lately. Everything appears to be working. We'll see. Okay, blank. Yep, blank canvas. That's what we want. Okay. So it looks like everything is working, amazingly. So we're going to do something a little different tonight. I'm going to just do a sketch of something. I realized, I was thinking about this the other day, and it occurred to me that I don't think I've ever drawn Godzilla, one of my favorite characters of all time, and I cannot recall ever actually drawing the character in any form. So I think I'm going to try to rectify that tonight. I've got a little figure of him here that's always on my desk, because he's awesome. And I've got a little light on positioning here. And I'm just going to doodle him. I just feel like just drawing something, just free form, nothing planned, nothing ahead of time. We're just going to go with I'm just going to draw him. I'm just going to doodle him. So let's try. I've never really tried something like this. So yeah, we're just going to draw. I'm just going to do kind of like free form stuff to start, like kind of how I want him to look generally. You know, and I'm just, like I said, I've got a little figure of him here, and I'm just kind of outlining the general, what do you call it, the gestural idea of him. Yeah, I mean, it's not going to look like much for a minute, but basically this is how a lot of artists do it, is starting off with these really, really kind of loose, you know, ideas of where things are going to be. So if that comes around like that, so that's one of his eyes, so we'll put the eye there. And yeah, like I said, I've never I'm looking at the eye socket. The eye socket kind of has pockets to it like this. I've never drawn Godzilla that not in any serious way that I can think of, which is really weird because I've been a fan of the character since I was little. I've always liked Godzilla quite a bit. So I don't know why I've never tried to draw. I mean, he's not easy to draw. Maybe that's why. Maybe it's because I don't know if I can actually draw him very well. I look at people like Art Adams who have such a command of the character, and it's like, hey, yeah, I don't know if I can do that. I mean, I'm pretty sure I can't do that, but I mean, I know I can't draw like Art Adams, that's for sure. But it's, trying to actually draw Godzilla is not. I think some people think it's relatively easy, and I've never found it to be easy. I mean, it's always been intimidating to me. So basically, his head kind of comes around like this. And then this side is there's more of his mouth happening, and then that kind of curls back into, hold on, this is too big for what I'm trying to do too, so let's just do that. So let's just see here, I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna try and see how it comes out. God, he's got so many wrinkles. Godzilla has so many wrinkles on him. That's another part that's tricky about it is, so that's his nose, or snout, I suppose, if we're being technical about it. And there's a part that comes down under there and kind of loops in. So we loop that. And then there's some fangs on this particular figure. This, I believe, is like the 2000 era version of Godzilla, which is one of my favorite ones. I like him when he looks more mean. I've always liked the more sinister look of him. Oh, I heard it. Where is it? Ah, Chameleon. Hey, Chameleon. Happy Monday. Nice to see you. But, yeah, so we're going to see how this goes. So open the mouth a little bit. So this is his mouth. And we'll have some teeth here. Some little teeth here. And then it's kind of got the chins coming down a bit. Not much of it from what I can see here at this angle. So that comes up here and that forms kind of his mouth. More or less. I am trying to draw Godzilla, who I've never drawn before, and I've loved the character forever, and I've never attempted to draw him because I don't know if I can, because he's not easy to draw. So I'm trying it. We're gonna see how it goes. I've got a little figure of it here, I think they call them like a Defoe character, where it's like, a little silly looking version of him. And I'm going to try it, and we're going to see. I don't know, it may not work out. Those are his ears. Okay, so he's got little ears like this. And this comes like that and comes off. Some kind of, like cat's ears, but whatever. We're going to go with it. I know I set that thing to have a longer timer. Why is it not having the longer timer? That's really strange. I know I told it. It's not saving my settings. I think that's the problem. Yeah, it's, I don't know. It doesn't look at all like well, maybe it does. I don't know. I'm a terrible judge of my own stuff, so we'll see. Like I said, it's just trying it out to see how it goes. That's nostrils, so we get the nostrils in there. But he's not easy to do. Hey, Furcorn. Nice to see you. Welcome to the stream. Okay, so that's a ridge going down his head. And then he's got another ridge going this way. Okay, and then we've got, oh jeez, he's got ridges everywhere. Well, I guess he does, yeah, he would. So another ridge going that way, another ridge going this way. I'm doing well. How are you? Hope you're having a good Monday. I know some people don't like Mondays, some people don't care about Mondays. So hopefully your Monday is going well, whether you like Mondays or not. So that comes around like that, okay. There's just stuff coming off him like this. Good. That's great. I am happy to hear that. So then he's... This would be the Millennium version, I think they call it. The one where they redesigned him in the late 90s. So it's actually not the new or old one. It would be a newer one, but not the newest one. Yeah, this is when they first made him look really, I think, mean. So I believe they call this let's see, I believe this is called the Millennium version. Hold on, I can tell you exactly. Let's take a look so that you can look up what he looks like. Godzilla era designs. Let's take a look. Video call, Bob. Hold on. Okay, here it is. Let's see. So, Godzilla Through the Ages. Okay. So, yes, this is the Millennium series. So, this was the redesign that first came around in 1999 through 04. So, if you look that up, that's where they changed him to make him look, well, I call it meaner. Because in the previous version, he had like big googly eyes. And then when they did the Millennium one, they gave him kind of more reptile-looking eyes, I guess. Because there's points where Godzilla kind of has eyes that look like this. Like they're big, round, like googly eyes. You know, inside of his snout. But this one, they gave him kind of more angled, angry eyes like that. So they arched it so he looked angry all the time. And that's the one I like. Which is similar. The new one's kind of like that. The new one, I think they tried to do a blend of it. They were trying to do more than one thing at once, which I think works. I like the new one. But this is my favorite one. I only remember watching the really old one where they dubbed it. Oh yeah, well those are great. I love all the versions of Godzilla. There's really no version I don't like. So it just went with whenever you discovered Godzilla tends to be your favorite one. You know, it's just that's the way that it goes. But I don't think there's any bad version. They constantly tried to adapt them to the times, I think, depending on what they were doing. So this is like spikes coming off. So spikes. This is kind of a big ridge that's going like this. And the head kind of rounds. So really it should be rounded more like that to make it more accurate. Then his spines are back here, which this is just loose. That's not going to look anything like that. Okay, so let's just make this as his mouth, because that looks like big teeth, and that shouldn't be. It should be like that. And then there's like little even ridges here. And then there's all this wrinkly skin and stuff. And then, yeah, his eyes are kind of up here like this. Yeah. I mean, I have to... Okay, that doesn't look right. So it would be, let's see. Did they make a new movie recently? Oh, yeah. They made the Godzilla vs. Kong one. They've been making those, which I like. I like those quite a bit. But yeah, the ones where it's him and King Kong now. Yeah, those are the new ones. Okay, hold on. So it looks like it should be coming in. So maybe there's a little more of the eye showing that I've got here. So it should be coming in a little bit like this. There's the teeth there, and then there's like this. There's all this. Let me do this just so I can see what I want to keep here. Not mask. I want to do a quick fill, and then drop it down a little bit, and then I can, yeah. Oops. There we go. And then put a layer on top and see where I want to go with this. Yeah, it's interesting because that's kind of coming up there. So let's see. Let's get a decision point on something here. Let me see. I just remember the commercials. I haven't really kept track. Been into anime for the past 2 years now. Yeah, there's a Godzilla anime that's pretty good too. They've made a few of those. The new one was pretty good. I don't remember what it was called. But it was pretty good. There was a really old Godzilla animated thing that I liked, but it was way goofier. It was kind of like the old Ninja Turtle stuff. So I don't know that most people remember it as fondly as I do. There's something on my desk. It's just like a little piece of lint or something that's bugging me because the fan is making it wheel around and it's distracting me. I got it. Okay, there we go. Okay. Okay, so let's see. So let's start here. We can build everything around. Oh, there we go. Let's build around the snout here. Right? Just looking at his nose. Yeah. Actually, oh, you know what? I see what I did there. This should actually be a lot closer. This should be more like this. That's where they should actually be. Okay. And then, let's see. Freaking love Ninja Turtles. I used to watch the Ninja teacher. Oh, yeah, I did too. I mean, the first things I ever really drew a lot of were the Ninja Turtles. Yeah, like I remember, like first some of the first drawings I ever did, real easy Ninja Turtles. I remember these so clearly, doing these, just like this, come around there, and then do this, give the eyes, depending, right? You do a little bit of this around the eyes, give it some shadow, right? It comes out there. And then, there's different ways to do this too, but, just come around like this. Right. Do the nose, a little bit of shadow in there. A little shadow there. You do a little bit of this. You can have like this coming off of here. That comes off of there. Some shadow there. Oh yeah, Michelangelo? Mine too. Nunchucks. Yeah, so if you want to do Michelangelo, right? That's easy. You just do the gigantic fingers like this. Right? And if I remember, they only had 4 fingers. I'm trying to remember. But I think the original comic ones I read had 4 fingers. So then you have the nunchuck comes up. All right. A little shiny bit there. A little bit of shadow there. This comes out. Do some wrapping. All right. And then you have your other hand. Let's see. So we'll do it like this. Now, this is the tricky bit because when it comes to doing like hand perspective stuff, it's not always something I'm great at, but I'll try it. All right. And then, well, no, it can't be like that because you have to have the thumb has to come up to hold it. So it would have to look like something like this. I'm doing this really fast, and doing hands fast is not the best way to do it. But, right, okay, so then, now if I was really going to take time, I would do all these links individually, but we'll do it quick here just so we've got it. Right, and then that would come into the little top of the thing here. And then you kind of shoot that through this way, and it's like, so you see he's kind of holding it. You do the wrap, or the grip, and then the end of it here where you got a little bit of shiny bit, and then some there. So you do something like that. Now, I mean, that it should be way longer. The chain should be really longer than this. But this is the way that you would, or I would typically do it, is have it like that. Some shadow here, right? Hey, Heroes Forever, welcome. Welcome to the stream, right? And then you kind of, right? So then you have to have, yeah. This is like trying to do foreshadowing or whatever they call it. You're gonna have the thing on the wrist, right? This is what I'm saying. Is I'm doing this really quickly, so this is not gonna look right at all because I should have like planned the spacing out way better than this. But do that, and then they have the things on their elbows like that. You come in, right? Shells here. So get a shell. Do some shoulder, right? Swirl that up. And we do the shoulder there. And then you got some shell here. Shell comes in. God, I used to draw this stuff all the time. I mean, this is literally just going off almost muscle memory of drawing the turtles so many times. Shell part comes up here, and then I would do like this, and you got to make this really kind of angular and specific. And this comes up because this is supposed to be the hard part of the shell. So you do this. Oh, you're in the right place. You know what I think? Ninja Turtles and Godzilla. Oh, yeah, it would. Sure. You know, the problem with Godzilla in a crossover, honestly, is that Godzilla is so much more powerful than everything. That you have to have something of his level. He's so much more massive than everything. You know what I mean? So when they do some of these crossovers, they're really kind of silly to me. Like he's fighting the X-Men now, I think. And I sort of, it's like, okay, but he would destroy the X-Men in 2 seconds. He's so much more powerful than everything. And it doesn't even really make any sense. Not that it matters, but I find some of these things funny because I'm like, okay, this is, these are really not characters that are in any of the same boat. But it would be interesting to see, like, the son of Godzilla when he's small. That would make a lot of sense against certain things. But yeah, it's funny to me what the stuff that they do now with all these characters and crossovers and trying to make them all make sense. He could just step out. Yeah, he is. He's immense. That's what I'm saying. I mean, his size has changed over time depending on who's, what they're doing with him in the movies, but he's huge. I mean, he could just shoot his atomic breath and they would just be nothing. They would be just destroyed so quickly. Wouldn't even be funny. The X-Men fight. Yeah, that's what I'm saying is they fight everybody. I mean, they find a way to have all these characters fighting each other, and I understand. It's just silliness and fun, so it's fine. Doesn't really matter. Now this, for something like this, I was gonna have it where he's kind of like standing on something. He's got those giant toes, because they have the giant toes. I remember that. So, right. Because you kind of have to, again, you're doing kind of a forced perspective thing here. Or like foreshortening of the leg muscle. Come up. Right. And then these giant things they always had on. Which are, some kind of, I assume, martial arts wearable apparatus. I don't know. I don't do martial arts. But they always had these on, at least in the comics they had these things. In the comics, of course, they didn't have the colors originally. They were just all red. Dual Tail looks better than my 5-hour project. Well, I mean, like I said, I used to draw the turtles all the time. So to some degree, it's like, it's something I drew a lot of. So, that's just years and years and years of drawing the turtles all the time because I was such a huge fan of the characters. So I have a bit of a, like I said, it's almost like cheating. It's just I've got certain parts memorized and certain things. I never ever know what to do with the second leg on characters. I never quite know how to position them. 3D artist. Yeah, 3D art is something I have no ability with. I admire people who can do it. I can't. I've messed around with it. I've done really, really simple, rudimentary things, but it's not really my skill set at all. So, all right, anyway, back to... Well, actually, you know what? That's still... Okay, let's do this. Wait, is this... Okay, let me duplicate this. Hold on. Let me do this really quick. So if we want to get an idea of how big Godzilla is supposed to be compared to one of the turtles, I mean, realistically, I would say that's probably about right. That's probably the correct size ratio where what he's supposed to be. So realistically, hold on. Here's the end result of your fight. That's it right there. Yep. That's about as long as any of them would last right there. That's all. History. Yeah. They would not last long in that fight. But anyway. Okay. So let's see here. It's fun drawing the turtles. I haven't drawn a turtle with that much detail in quite a while. So, nice to do that again after a long time. Okay, so we bring this down. See, no, I mean, I don't know that he would register. It's like a potato chip, I guess, to him, probably. And that's about it. Because, yeah, they would be pretty small compared to... I mean, again, they've changed his size. I just realized I did that wrong. This whole side is wrong. They've changed his size at times, but he's generally, even at his smallest, he's going to be quite a bit bigger than any of the Ninja Turtles would ever even get close to. So, yeah, it wouldn't be much of a fight. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's comic books. They're having fun. That's fine. You could do it. There could be some way where he's weakened. That's usually what they do is... he got hit by a bunch of bombs or something and he's weakened, and that's how they typically will get around some of this stuff. That's okay. You can always find a way to do it. I mean, Donatello can make a giant robot. Yeah, they could make a mech. Sure. That's what I mean. There's always, if they want to do it, there's always going to be a way to do it. They will find a way. I don't really care. It's not, some people get really serious about that stuff. I'm not one of them. It's perfectly fine. They can have Donatello make a giant mech that fights Godzilla and makes it a fair fight. That's okay. It's not gonna, like I said, some people get way too wrapped up in, well, that doesn't make it. Okay. Everybody calm down. It's a comic book or it's a movie or whatever, so nobody cares. It's fine. It's not real. Godzilla's not gonna get his feelings hurt. He doesn't care because he's not real. So it's all right. You know, I mean, it's the same thing with when I watched the new movies with him and Kong. Now, the reality is Kong wouldn't last 5 minutes against Godzilla. He just would not. King Kong would be dead in 15 seconds because Godzilla is way more powerful. Speaking of Ross, does anyone remember the cartoon Voltron? Oh, no, I love Voltron. Yeah. I am a fan of the original Voltron, not the cars, the lions. Because then they did the car version or the vehicles version or whatever they called it, which is fine, but I grew up with the lions. So that's the one I know. Oh, yeah, I know Voltron very well. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah. So, I'm trying to remember the opening. It's like space, you know, it's like, I can't remember what the... Something comes a new legend, the Legend of Voltron, Defender of the Universe, and then there's the robot voice. And, you know, there's the main one, the black line is the one that says, I'll form the head. Oh, yeah. No, I grew up on Voltron. Yeah, Voltron's great. I had the toy, the original metal. Now they all make them out of plastic, but I had the metal toy, which was heavy. Let me tell you, that thing weighed a ton. But I had it. I mean, it's long gone now, but I remember having that thing, and it was great. I loved it. Because, you know, like I said, they used to make toys out of metal. So, obviously, there was some danger from it, and I think that's why they stopped doing it. Because, you know, you drop it on somebody, you could actually probably hurt them pretty badly. But I do miss the weight of certain things that used to... Toys used to have a little bit of weight to them, and have a little bit of heft to them. But like I said, it probably was pretty dangerous, where you could probably hurt somebody pretty badly if it fell on them, or if somebody threw it at them. Because, you know, kids can sometimes do stupid things, you know, throw things, not thinking about how much it'll actually hurt somebody. So I kind of get why they stopped doing that. Iron versions become, yeah. Well, that's the thing, I know now that there's a lot of companies that actually remake the metal versions. Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's you could seriously, a lot of metal stuff, if it had a sharp edge, you could actually cut yourself pretty bad. A friend of mine had I don't know if anybody remembers snap bracelets, which were a really stupid fad for a while, but they were basically just these metal bands that you would hit onto your wrist and they would kind of wrap around your wrist, but they were just pieces of metal with fabric on them. And I remember my neighbor got hit in the head with one, and the fabric had come away, and he gashed his head right open on a snap bracelet of all things. It's crazy. So yeah, anything like that, there's reasons, there's safety concerns with it. So I get why they, you know, did away with that, a lot of that stuff, because you don't want kids to get hurt. No toy is worth it, you know. So yeah. Oh, Godzilla. Oh yeah. This is the mean version. So he should be. He is kind of I guess, demonic looking a bit when they redid him for the Millennium version. That's why I like him, because he actually looks like a scary monster. I like him when he's silly, too. Don't get me wrong. I like every version. But I like him best when he has a bit of a threat to him. You know, something that makes you remember what he's supposed to be, which is a monster. But like I said, I don't mind the alternate versions. I kind of like the new ones. I've watched the new ones with Kong and everything. I like them. They're fun. So I don't mind that they've made him into kind of an anti-hero or whatever. Yeah, the eyes are coming out good. I mean, that's you got to get with Godzilla. The eyes are kind of important. That's why I like the redesign where they made his eyes scarier, and they kind of they moved away from the googly eyes because the googly eyes just he doesn't ever look that threatening. Not like he should. Let's put it that way. So yeah, I think the eyes of the Millennium version are good because they make him look scarier. So now this is the trick because these get progressively bigger as they go back. So I have to try to size them. There we go. Eyes are one of the keys inside. Yeah. I mean, eyes are the keys to a lot of things for creatures that have eyes. But that's one of the things is everybody's used to creatures having eyes, so it's kind of one of those things where you kind of have to get good at it because so often people want to see eyes. So it's hard not to have them. But they can also be very, very tough. Okay, so let's see. Where's that central ridge? Okay, that central ridge is coming right up from here. So it's kind of like this. All right, that one's coming up. That one is supposed to be a little bit bigger as it goes back. Okay, let's see. Play D&D. No, actually, I've never played Dungeons & Dragons. That's the weird part. I've never played it. I'll never not love a good pair of villain eyes, especially animated ones. Yeah. Yeah. But no, Heroes, I've never played D&D. I knew people who played it when I was younger. I don't know why I never played. It's not like I didn't like it. I just never, for whatever reason, it was just never something I got into. Which is strange because you would think as somebody who drew a lot and, liked all that. I mean, I loved the art. The irony is I had one of the rule books for it because I liked the artwork so much. And yet I never played it. So I had a rule book for a game I never played. At this point, would I try it? I mean, I probably would if I had people that I could learn with. I mean, I have to figure out all the rules and everything for it. I've never played it either. It goes over my head, honestly. Too many rules and stuff for me to process. Yeah, I mean, the rules are part of it, but I think there's ways around that. I think you can kind of, if you're working with somebody who's trying to get people on board with it, then I think there's ways to modify the rules so that they're not as intimidating. Because yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff to it. Because I know people who do play it, and a lot of them will say, the rules they're guidelines, but you don't have to go by them specifically. Like there's ways around them and stuff like that. So, not around them, but there's ways to modify. Okay, I don't like that. I don't like how that looks. I think I'm gonna do instead. I can teach you it's nothing difficult. Oh no, I'm sure it isn't difficult. I'm sure it isn't because I know there's ways to do it that are, there's easy ways to start into it. I used to go online role play in high school, cringe, but hey, listen, as long as you had a good time, that's fine. I mean, my friends and I used to go around and make stupid, movies on camcorders. If you think that isn't as cringy as anything you did, believe me, it was. It's not like we were really good filmmakers. None of us as adults ever made a movie. Let's put it that way. So trust me when I tell you, it's fine. Whatever you enjoy is what you enjoy. Is there another one there? Yeah, I guess there is there. It's like learning a language. The more you play, the better you get. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm sure it is. I have no doubt. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. So let me see here. I had an entire world where my friends and I were different characters. Yeah, well, I think that's very common. The idea of having, of making up stories, of letting your imagination kind of run. I think everybody has that to some degree. We lose it as we get older, which is a shame. But, yeah, that's, like I said, I mean, where do you think D&D came from? It's from that idea. I made an animation episode about the story of one of my characters. Oh, that's awesome. That's great. You know what? The center ridge, I've realized the center ridge is too far over. Where's my paint thing? That's why it looks unbalanced. It's not centered enough. Let me see here. Get the other one. Now I just post the Wattpad and YouTube for a hobby regarding stories. Yeah, that's okay. As long as you're still doing something. Doesn't matter where it is. You know what? That one can stay. That one's okay. I'm just going to refine the rest of this and make it go angled a little bit more. Yeah, let's see. So if I do this. Okay, here we go. Yeah, that's more splitting the difference. Which book do you own by the... Oh, I don't own it anymore. I don't remember which one it was. I remember it was a huge rule book. I would imagine... Actually, I think I... Hold on, let me look. I think I remember what the cover looked like, so I bet you I could tell you which one it was. Hold on, let me see. Let's see. D&D rule books. I mean, I remember it was a giant rule book. It was huge. Let's see... No, it's not. That's too new. This would have been... All right, so I would guess this would have been in the... Oh, let's just say late 90s. Late 90s. Let's see. Let me take a look. There are many. Yeah, there are many. But I... here it is. No, that's not... Okay, no. That's similar, but that's not it. Where is... God, I remember it had this really... I could feel the weight of the thing, and it had this really beautiful cover on it. That one looked similar, but then when I zoomed in, I realized it wasn't that one. Nope, it's not those. So hold on, I'm gonna keep looking here. But yes, I'm sure there are many of them. But I should, if somebody has a picture of it, I should be able to tell when I see it. Okay, no, set form, no, wasn't any of those. Boy, there are so many. Nope. Okay, wait a minute. Okay, I think... Oh, no, that's a Dungeon Master. That looks similar. I wonder if they reused the art, though. That artwork looks really similar. Wow, jeez. There are a million of these things. It's funny. I'm either getting ones... I think it had to be 5. I really think it had to be 5. But what's funny is the ones I'm finding are either really old, like the original, like 1, 2, whatever, the original sets, or they're really new. There doesn't seem to be a lot of anything in between. It's just really funny to me that there's not... That maybe the 90s were a point where nobody cared. And so nobody kept them. Because I remember the book. It was a big book. The artwork was so gorgeous inside of it too. It was really nice. Expert rule book. You know what? Look at that. It might be that one. Hold on. What is this one? Oh, it doesn't tell you which one it is. I think it's this expert rule book, but it doesn't tell me what year it's from. It's black and it's got a guy fighting a dragon. This guy looks like a horse fighting a dragon. That looks like it. It sure looks like that one. That might have been it. So it was an expert rulebook, I guess, not a complete one. Oh, yeah, I mean, honestly, just the artwork in these was so cool. No, I remember it was an official one. It wasn't a handmade, or it wasn't somebody's homemade one. It was definitely a real one, because I remember I bought it from a place that ran, like, I don't know if I'd say it's official games, but they were doing everything according to the actual rules. So no, it was official. But yeah, like you said, there's so many of these things. Wow. Now I'm actually on like a website that indexes all of them, and geez, the amount. Well, anyway, I'm just sitting here looking at books. Back to this. So, yeah, but I mean, honestly, the reason I got it was not because I ever intended to play the game. It's because I want to see, I like the artwork. That's why I got it. All right, Chameleon, thanks for stopping by. Have a good rest. Hope you sleep well. But yeah, that's the thing, is I wasn't really interested in playing. What I really wanted to do was just look at the artwork, because I I mean, Dungeons and Dragons has had great artists for so long. It's just one of those things where, they got that's one aspect of D&D that has always been exceptional. And there's just not a lot of other things like that have that degree of artistry. Yeah, basically. I mean, I did read some of because there were some like descriptions of classes and stuff like that. And I remember reading that stuff. It's not like I only looked at the pictures, but I did not get it to try to actually learn the game. I really got it because I wanted to look at the artwork. And then some of the, the class stories and some of the descriptions of spells and stuff. I remember there was a whole thing of spells and all these different spells. And I was just, there were just neat descriptions for the spells. I didn't know what any of them actually did. I mean, they were talking about rolling dice and all the stuff that, goes with D&D, and I didn't understand any of that. But, I remember like Stone Hand or something like that. There's these, I think some of the ones I was reading were for thieves or thieving. I'm remembering from 30 years ago, so I'm not going to remember all of it. But I remember the spells were really neat because there was a whole section, if I remember, on spells and, different stuff like that. And I don't know if it was new spells. I want to say maybe it was new spells that were being introduced or something, or changes. I don't remember all of it, but I remember that there was descriptions of these spells and stuff that it could do. I'm sure that one was in there. Like I said, I don't remember the names. I just remember being really interested in all the different things that these spells could do. I do remember something about a stone, like turn to stone or something like that. That sounded really neat, but I thought there were ones that were specific to like thieves, but I could be completely misremembering that. It was so long ago that now to try to remember that. I had that book for a long time, and then I think I gave it to somebody who was way more into D&D than I was, and I was like, well, if you want this book, I'd looked through it enough times, and so I think I gave it to somebody who was trying to figure out how to play. And I'm like, well, here, take it. I'd rather have somebody who wants this thing and will play with it, meaning play the game with it. Yeah, take it. Because I'd already looked through it. And I did kind of feel bad that I had this. I mean, I remember it was expensive too. I remember it was not a cheap book. When I bought that, it was expensive. I do remember that. And I thought it was kind of a waste that I had this beautiful, expensive book and I wasn't really using it. So I give it to my friend Jason, I think. Jason, whose last name I cannot remember. Because my memory has never been all that good. Ever. Yeah, this is an okay Godzilla. This definitely does not look specifically just like him, but it's okay. It's not bad. I'm okay with it. It's not the worst. It could have been way worse. Yeah. I wonder if it was that Expert's Rulebook, because, yeah, there's so many different ones. But, yeah, I've looked through... I mean, all the D&D stuff it just has such wonderful artwork in there. There's so many great artists that have worked on D&D stuff and have created that world, and worlds, I shouldn't say world like there's only one. There's everything. But, yeah, that's one area where D&D has always just been really, really exceptional. I mean, even people who don't like it can look at the artwork and see it. Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, that's like everything. Everything. There's so many things that you don't think about, and then, I had the old Star Wars toys, the old original Star Wars toys that are worth hundreds of dollars now. We threw them out. My mother threw them out. We broke them. We were not taking care of them. We weren't thinking about the fact that someday somebody was going to collect all this stuff and it was going to become expensive. You just don't think about it. That's everything. That's just the way it goes. There's stuff now that people are going to throw out, and you can never tell what it's going to be. I mean, people do collect a lot of stuff, but you never know what people are going to decide is valuable. You just don't know. I know. Well, I'm just saying, Every generation, every type of thing, it's all like that. There is stuff now that people think is worthless, and someday it's not going to be worthless. And the stuff that everybody's collecting, nobody's going to want because everybody's collecting it. It's going to be the things that were thrown away that for some reason catch on. You know, that's what it's going to be. I mean, there's people now that are doing all this stuff with old computers that objectively run like crap. You know? Well, I'm not saying it's everything. But when I was younger, collecting was not a business the way it is now. At least, you know, toys weren't seen as collectibles that way. It was still mostly like baseball cards were still the thing that people collected. It was not Star Wars because nobody thought it was going to stay around. It was seen as kid stuff, you know, and a lot of it is that just people, I mean, Nintendo games, I mean, many Nintendo games I threw out that now if I had them in a box would be worth a ton of money. It's crazy. Because you don't think about it. It's just not even anywhere on your mind at the time. Well, that's the way you should do it. If it's a hobby and it ends up being valuable, then great. And if not, as long as you still enjoy doing it, then, you know, that's okay too. But like I said, a lot of people now are making it like investments and stuff. And I think that's terrible. I think that's not the reason to collect things, is because you're trying to bank on a future, you know, sale of it. I just think that's the wrong reason. Then you're not really collecting it. You're just storing it so that you can hopefully make a buck on it. And I don't know, it just doesn't seem like a good reason to have something. But there's so much money in it now that's, you know, that ship has left the port. I feel that kind of power when you own something. Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, I have, in my case, it's original art. I buy original artwork from people. And I know I'm the only one who has it. Nobody else can have it. I mean, they can get prints of it. They can get, you know, copies of it, but they are not going to have the original. I have the one where you can see the brush marks and the ink marks and all the stuff that the artist did. And that's great. Because, like I said, I look at that and I'm like, yep, I've got it. Nobody else has it. But I think if you're not getting any actual joy out of it, then there's something that just isn't great. Because I also look at this stuff and I just really enjoy seeing the actual, you know, the actions of the artist present on what I'm looking at. You can see where they made marks. You can see where their hands were moving. That kind of stuff to me is really, really interesting. That I like quite a bit. And I think there are people who, you know, they just buy artwork and they throw it in a vault somewhere and they never even look at it. And I think that's a shame. That's criminal almost. Because, you know, it's like, that's not what, artist doesn't want their work to never be seen. Yes, they're going to be happy that they made money, but if they knew that their stuff was just sitting somewhere in a basement or whatever and nobody was ever going to see it, I don't think they'd be happy about it. Some artists probably don't care. But I think that there are probably more than a few that would care and would think that that's awful. That their stuff is just sitting in storage somewhere. And it happens a lot. There's a lot of art collectors with quotes around it. They're not really collecting the art because they love it. They're collecting it because they think they'll be able to sell it in an auction in a couple of years. It's like, okay, well, it's not illegal, but it's sure a waste to not actually appreciate the artwork that you're buying. But like I said, this is the bad side of how much there is in a collectible market now, because it really is like a, you know, it's people buying things hoping that at some point they'll be able to make money off it, as opposed to because they actually love it. And I don't think it's great, because it's just going to encourage people to make things that are artificially collectible. They did that with comics when I was younger. You'd have comics that there would be 6 different versions of a comic because they wanted you to think it was collectible. Nobody cared. It wasn't actually that, you know, it's not like there was anything really special about it, except that it had a different cover, foil covers or whatever. Yeah, well, games are the same way, and there's been a lot of people who've been complaining about how much artificial inflation there is in the video game market, where games that aren't even good are just going for a ton of money because they are rare. But if they're not a good game, should anybody really be paying a bunch of money for them? And you know they're not buying these. They're not paying all this money because they actually think the game is secretly good. They're doing it because it's a rare game. Again, they're just banking at it being worth something. Yeah, PS1's a good one. PS1 has a lot of that stuff. There's a lot of rare PS1 games. Again, many of them are not good. I'm not talking about that with Sly Cooper, but I'm just saying there's a lot of collectible PlayStation 1 games that, you know, if you were actually to try to play the game, you'd hate it. It's not actually good. But it's a collectible because it's rare. You know, because nobody bought it because it sucked. And now that makes it collectible, and it's like, okay. But that's just my opinion on it. Not everybody thinks that way, obviously. That's fine. People are entitled to do whatever they want to do. If that's what they want to spend their money on, spend their money on it. I just wish people would spend money on things that they would actually get some enjoyment out of, as opposed to, again, storing it on the off chance they can sell it at some point. Because I just think that ends up being what a lot of it is, and I don't think that's, I don't know, it seems sad to me that the product of somebody becomes just a sellable thing somewhere. Oh, that's great. If you got it for that cheap, you did well. Good. I mean, that's a steal for how some of rare games go for that I've seen. Multi-$100 worth of whatever. So, good job. Okay, all right, let me see how this is going to loop up. Oh, wow, we're at 51 minutes? Oh, yeah, look at that. Oh, not a bad stream all in all. Been kind of fun just doing this. Not worrying about getting it completely perfect or anything. Just kind of playing around with it. Not something I do very often on the stream. Usually I'm working towards some kind of finished thing, but this is not the case on this one. This is just kind of seeing where it goes. Looks like there's a tooth here that's kind of off, and there's one way back here. So his mouth kind of comes up like this. Kind of angles into there, so we'll just darken that and that. And then, okay, so then there's sort of a, this is where his mouth is coming up. Okay, and then it sort of joins up right around there, or so. Let me just turn that back thing off for a minute. Okay, so he definitely needs, I need to put more to his face than that, so we're gonna go ahead and extend this down. And then bring that in there, yeah, that looks better. Do the same thing. Okay, and then what I'm gonna do is, let's grab the eraser. Let's erase all this to about there. Okay. Let's see. As you said before, a lot of people don't know. Yeah, they don't. You are correct about that. A lot of people really do not. They don't know what they've got. Okay, you know what? I have to undo all of those. That's never gonna work that way. I'm gonna do it like this. Because trying to make it fit to that is just not going to work. So we're going to do it this way. Let's do this. That kind of comes in. There we are. Now let's see. Yeah. Better. Much better. Trying to use what was already there that was a mistake from the get-go. So this way is much better because it's going to fit more organically. Right, and then wrap that up, and that comes into there. There we are. Now we're getting there. Actually, it should go the other way. It should be up like this, and this, and this. I like to call myself a treasure hunter. Oh, yeah. Well, listen. And you know what? That is one other thing. Is people who enjoy looking for stuff, that get the joy is to look for things. Hey, that's great. If you have fun looking for it, and that's the fun is the chase of it, can't blame you, because I used to do a little of that with eBay when it came to like Hong Kong vinyl stuff. I would have a lot of fun like bidding against people, and I would never use any of the auto bidder stuff. I would just literally sit there and kind of count it down and try to time it and see if I could win an auction like right as it was about to end. And there was a lot of fun in that. I had a lot of fun with that. And the thing is, I still have a lot of those, the figures that I bought from them. I still have them. That was fun. So I understand that. And, you know, I get that. The idea of wanting to find things and the fun of, you know, seeing if you can find something or, you know, get it for a cheap price or whatever. Yeah, I get all that. I get all that stuff. So I do understand that part of it too. A little bit of shadowing down here. Let me see what that looks like with that back thing turned off. Yeah, that definitely looks bigger with more of a chin to him than he had before. Yeah. Yep. Okay. And then that feeds. There's a lot of weird wrinkles in this particular area. I mean, I guess that's his whole thing, is there's a lot of weird wrinkles all over the place. So, you know, what else is new? Put that up like that. Well, you know what? I think this is where I'm going to bring it to a close for this particular stream. Oh, that's great. You know what? YouTube can be a lot. I have my problems with YouTube. I really do. I think it can often be a tough thing for people who are just starting up channels and stuff like that. I think YouTube does a pretty terrible job at helping people out with that, but it can be a lot of fun. That's why I wish YouTube did more to help people when they were starting out, as opposed to people who already have 40 million viewers who really don't need help. I wish they did more to kind of help people who are starting out boost their stuff, but they don't. But yeah, it can be a lot of fun. Okay, so let me do this. Bam. Okay. And okay. Well, this was fun. Just working on something that was low pressure and just working on it and kind of drawing a character I don't often draw, and drawing Ninja Turtles again, which I haven't done in a very, very long time, not with any seriousness. So, yeah, this was a good time, a fun stream. But, yeah, I'm going to bring that to a close for tonight because my iPad was starting to heat up, which is the sign for, hey, time to go to rest. I don't want to overheat the iPad. On that note, as I try to always say at the end of my streams, go find somebody who's a creator that you enjoy and support them. Hey, thanks for stopping by, Heroes Forever. Oh, what's your post what your YouTube channel is? Put it in here. Take a look at it. And if anybody watches this, they can see it. So put your YouTube channel. I have no problem promoting other people's stuff. So if you want, pop it in here. I don't know if you don't have it ready where you want it yet. If you don't, that's fine. Don't feel like you have to. If you don't want to publicize it yet. Oh, well, that makes it easy. I guess I should have guessed that from the name. So, is that YouTube? Well, hold on, I'll tell you. Let's try it. Let me take a quick look here. So, YouTube Heroes Forever. Hold on a minute. Let's see. Let's see. Okay, hold on. Let's see what this is. Oh, wait, I'm not trying to, because that will blow the speakers right out. Hold on, let me do this. Oh yeah, here it is. I found it. Well, that's great. But yeah, like I said, I don't mind promoting people's stuff, so that's good. That's great. I will, okay, I haven't watched it. I just made sure I found the channel. I haven't watched anything yet. I will skip episode 0. That's fine. No problem. I can skip that for you. Don't worry about it. But you know what? I tell people, you actually want people looking at the early stuff when it was still rough, because it shows how you've grown past it. So I don't cover any of my old stuff up. I think it's good to see where your growth is. But hey, I'll skip it if you don't want me. If you don't want me to watch it, I won't. Oh man, that's delicious cold water. All right, I'm going to wrap up the stream for this evening. So anybody who watches this or sees this, go find a creator who you enjoy and do something to support that person. I'm not talking about me. I'm talking about other people who are, maybe smaller time creators who are struggling, who aren't getting a lot of response on their stuff. It doesn't have to be money. Doesn't always have to be money. People assume that support means give them money. If you can, that's great. But just if it's a YouTube channel, leave a comment, subscribe, like what they're doing. If it's a podcast, leave them a review. If it's art on some type of channel or stream, tell them that you like the art, reshare it, repost it, tell other people about it, bring more eyes to it. Do something like that, because there's a lot of creators who are making really great stuff. And unfortunately, because of how much there is out there, a lot of people just get lost in the noise, and it's a shame. So do something to help support a creator. They will appreciate it more than you might expect. And it's just a good thing to do in general. So, well, that's fine. That's okay. Yeah, I mean, I think most people are going to understand that as the episodes go on, they're going to get better. So I think most people are going to be okay with that. So on that note, everybody, thanks for hanging out as I did something a little different tonight, which was just doing a free-form Godzilla doodle. I may continue that on the next one. I may not. We'll see. We'll see where I am on the next stream. But, yeah, so go support a creator in some way, however you can. Thanks for hanging out for a while, and until next time, good night, Heroes Forever. Thank you for stopping by. Appreciate it. And, yeah, so that's it. Have a wonderful rest of your morning, afternoon, evening, night, because I don't know when everybody's going to be watching this. They might be watching the replay. Whenever it is, wherever it is, have a great rest of your insert thing here. And until next time, take care.